Tonight on KGW News.
We've never seen this level of job openings in the state of Oregon.
A job seeker's economy. The impact on wages and businesses as the state shifts to having more jobs than workers. Plus, what does it take to get super immunity from COVID? The new local study on vaccines and breakthrough cases. And later, a mother's pain shows there's much more than statistics behind Portland's gun violence crisis.
I'm never gonna see that smile again.
Your news starts now. Good evening. New tonight, more jobs, and there are people to fill them. That's the reality in Oregon and the rest of the country. Thank you for joining us. I'm Laurel Porter. Economists say there are 7 unemployed people for every 10 openings right now. Alma McCarty took a closer look at the numbers and spoke with experts about why this is a good thing for many. Alma?
The long story short, the economy is in good shape. It's a job seekers market, and if you're one of those people, you've often got your pick to get the right position at the right pay.
2 years ago, the pandemic forced closures and layoffs. Many filed for unemployment for the first time, trying to make ends meet while dealing with all of the other COVID-related challenges. Now, economists say things are on the rebound in a big way.
So the economy right now is in honestly really good shape.
Hiring has been really at full steam, particularly since the summer, when Oregon employers reported a record number, 107,000 job openings just in the summer.
Josh Lehner and Gail Krimenauer are both economists for the state of Oregon. They explain 2021 ended with more than 100,000 job openings in the state. Prior to the pandemic recession, the largest number of job openings they'd ever seen was about 67,000 in the summer of 2017.
The biggest constraint in the economy right now is labor. It's harder to find workers today than it was, 2-3 years ago.
What that means if you're a job seeker is likely, if you're looking for a job, you could get multiple job offers and have the opportunity to take the one that has the best combination of wages, benefits, and perks and flexibility.
More jobs than unemployed people seeking work, and a current unemployment rate at 4.1%. Great for job seekers, harder for businesses. The demand for workers is driving up wages across the board, according to Lehner's latest report from the Office of Economic Analysis.
One of the tools that they've been using quite readily is raising wages to attract workers, right? The average wage in Oregon since the start of the pandemic is up 17%. On a full-time basis, that's equivalent of like $7,000 or $8,000 a year for the average Oregon worker, which is just a really big increase.
Krimenauer explains each industry has different difficulties in finding and retaining workers right now.
In some of them, it's just a lack of applicants. Employers are saying that they have too few or no applicants for their jobs. And then in other industries, and we talk about healthcare, this is a good example, they're more likely to require some sort of education beyond high school.
For the rest of 2022, Lehner predicts a steady statewide wage increase, though a bit slower than what we saw during the pandemic.
We do think labor supply, the number of people actively looking for a job, will increase, this year and next.
Some of the industries with the most openings include leisure and hospitality, healthcare and construction, as well as warehousing and transportation.
Thank you, Alma. Now to 3 things to know about the coronavirus tonight. Number 1, a new study from OHSU is shedding light on what some call super immunity. It comes from a combination of vaccination plus natural immunity from infection. Oregon Health and Science University researchers used 104 employee volunteers for the study. Everyone had 2 shots of the Pfizer vaccine. Then scientists took blood samples and watched how their antibodies worked when exposed to 3 variants of COVID. They found getting infected and being fully vaccinated boosted the body's defenses by 10 times over someone who was just vaccinated.
The people that just got vaccinated alone, they had immune responses. The vaccine is very good. But if you have this sort of combination immunity that results from natural infection plus vaccination, the level of the immune response is dramatically higher.
It is a bit of a silver lining as breakthrough cases happen more often. You still would not want to get COVID, but if you do, your symptoms are often more mild than they would be otherwise, and you are super immune afterwards. Researchers say people like that will help push the pandemic to something more like a seasonal annoyance because there will be fewer people left to infect. Number 2 thing to know tonight, a new form of COVID has been detected in Washington. Researchers are calling it BA2. It's not a new variant, but rather a subvariant of Omicron. So far, it's been detected in 40 countries. Testing facilities are seeing a rise in the subvariant, but since it is so new, researchers really don't know a lot about it yet. And number 3, a new test developed at the University of Washington could change the way we track COVID. It's called the Harmony COVID-19 test. Researchers say it can detect COVID in less than 20 minutes, and it's as accurate as tests processed in medical labs. They hope these tests can soon be available in clinics, workplaces, and schools around the world, but it's not clear how soon that could happen.
His smile, could melt Mom's heart.
And tonight we're hearing from a mother who lost her son to gun violence. Police say Aaron Williams was shot and killed over the weekend. His mother says he had recently fallen on hard times, but he managed to stay compassionate through it all. Mike Benner has the story.
Somebody shot him and left him on the side of the road dead and left.
Enraged is one way to describe how Keely Williams has been feeling since the shooting death of her son, Aaron Williams. The other is determined.
I got up and put 2 feet in front of each other and said, I'm going to do what I need to do.
That includes talking with us about Aaron's murder. It's unclear when exactly the 29-year-old was killed, but we know somebody found his body around 11:30 Sunday night near Northeast 82nd and Milton. That person flagged down a police sergeant who happened to be driving by, and that sergeant confirmed Aaron had been shot to death.
It's wrong. You don't shoot people and leave them like cattle or pigs that you've hunted.
Keely says Aaron had fallen on hard times and was living on the streets. Despite all of that, Keely says Aaron never lost his love for children and animals or his incredible smile.
His smile, could melt Mom's heart. And that's what my daughter said this morning. She said, I'm never going to see that smile again.
The corner where Aaron was shot happens to be the same area where a handful of people were shot last year. The 2 people killed in that shooting were rappers affiliated with the Wu-Tang Clan.
We know we have a gun violence issue.
Sergeant Kevin Allen of the Portland Police Bureau points to what happened last year. More than 1,200 confirmed shootings in Portland, 69 people killed, and the violence hasn't stopped. Sergeant Allen says Aaron is the 6th person to be shot and killed this year. He's asking anyone who saw anything out of the ordinary, maybe a suspicious person or vehicle, to call authorities.
Certainly, there has been a lot of work that's been done by detectives on this case as they're trying to gather information. But when it comes down to it, we need help from the public.
Keely Williams hopes someone comes forward with information. There's nothing she wants more than an arrest in the case.
I want this person down. I want him handcuffed and taken in and going through the justice system.
If it seems like Keely is incredibly strong considering the circumstances, it's because she is. She's unfortunately been down this road before, having lost 2 other sons in the last 5 years. One to an infection following a medical procedure and the other in a motorcycle crash. She's hoping anyone with information about Aaron's murder will contact the Portland Police Bureau. Reporting in Northeast Portland, I'm Mike Benner for KGW News.
And we send a lot of love to Aaron's mom and family. Now to an update from Newburgh. Tonight, the school board got back together for the first time since a recall election that had 2 leading board members in danger of losing their positions. Much of the public testimony at the meeting tonight was in support of the board leaders. After a week of counting ballots, it looks like board chair Dave Brown and vice chair Brian Shannon will keep their seats. They each got around 52% of the votes to keep them on the board. About 48% of voters said they should be recalled. The recall started after the board leaders proposed banning Black Lives Matter and pride flags in schools, then later changed that to banning anything political. Other residents tonight asked the board to set aside political debates and focus on students.